All right, it is a Monday. We're giving you a little motivation on this Monday to start the week. We're learning the top things you can do to separate yourself from others. So why not get motivated from one of the top motivational speakers anywhere in the world? He's also a very successful entrepreneur, so he can back up what he says. So we are joined this morning by Ed Mylett, one of my favorite people to talk to. Ed, good morning to you.
Good morning, brother. The feelings are mutual. Good to see you.
Thank you for that. Speaking of which, talking about motivational speakers, it seems like everybody this day and age has some sort of inspiration or motivation on social media. How do you pick and choose who you should listen to?
Well, you should pick very few, meaning pick 2 or 3 and stick with them. You don't want 15, 20 voices in your head every single day, that's for sure. And I'd say I'd pick somebody who has backed it up with a track record. There's a lot of people in that space now, nothing wrong with it, but they're sort of teaching people to do things they've never actually applied themselves. So look into their backgrounds. If they've actually produced results with what they're teaching you, then I would follow them. And I'd pick just 2 or 3, as I've said, so that you don't have conflicting messages every single day floating around in your head.
Okay, I'm going to listen to you then. We're coming out of this pandemic hopefully very soon. In all the people that you talk to, what are you learning that that separates the people who are going to come out of this doing well and those who are going to be hurt by it?
I think that, one thing is it's not always just about your habits. It's about what you don't do. It's the things you're doing that might hurt you, like maybe being on social media too long. Good Morning Arizona aside, are you consuming too much media? All the stress of the election and COVID and some of the things that are so important, like the social injustice issues, but sometimes they can be a bit much, if we're feeding ourselves too much of this stress and strife. But a big thing that I'm writing about right now that I think is critical is that there's 2 patterns of thought in life. You either operate out of your memory or you operate out of your imagination. And right now, more and more people are operating out of memory, meaning everything they do is responsive, it's reflexive, it's a pattern. If you can begin to teach yourself to operate out of your imagination, instead of your history, operate out of your vision. And that requires putting some work in. And one thing I recommend to everybody, Scott, is that, one of the vogue things now is, hey, have a gratitude ritual you do every day. List the things you're grateful for. It's incredibly powerful, and I teach it. One thing that's not being taught is have an imagination ritual every day. Give yourself the gift of a minute or 2 every morning and just imagine what your life could be. One of the things children have over adults is they're dreamers. Their imaginations run wild. And as we get older and older and older, we have more history and more memory, and we begin to operate out of that place, and our life begins this loop that repeats itself. But if you teach yourself an hour or a minute or 2 a day to be a child again and give yourself the gift of an imagination, imagine what your life could look like. Imagine what the relationship, your body, your finances, the business you would start. Imagine and get out of memory and history. And that's a catalyst for real change in your life.
That's really good stuff. A couple of weeks ago, there was a day that was coined National Procrastinators Day, and we kind of joked about it around here, but I saw one of your posts right after that where you were like, no, you need to do the opposite. Is that one of the ways that you should separate yourself from others in gaining success is obviously the hard work?
Yeah, listen, knowledge is power only when it's applied. And the truth is, in this day and age, information is free and it's very readily available. So the separator oftentimes now is not what you know compared to what someone else's knowledge level is. It's your ability to execute at speed. It's your ability to take immediate, massive action on decisions that you make. And that's what I find separates people. I interview every single week top achievers on my show, and I'm shocked sometimes. You just had Dr. Germ on. I bet Dr. Germ's IQ is 80 points higher than mine. Right. And so if I guarantee you it is. And so I got to tell you, I've seen smart people and dumb people win in business, tall people and short people, old people and young people, all different races and backgrounds. But what they all have in common is their ability to take massive action immediately. That's the separator I find in this day and age, because knowledge is something we can all get access to now.
Yeah. Well, listen, thanks for your knowledge this morning. Always love listening to you. Continued success, and we'll talk to you down the road.